one of the most important aspects of our business is hiring and our team members and making sure that we have a good quality team so we can get the work done that we've committed to do. And so since all of the work that we do is hands-on manual labor, it requires a lot of team members, a lot of skilled technicians. Since we're in the coating industry, we have to provide really good quality finishes that look good, and so that takes a lot of skill and a lot of time and a lot of experience. So making sure that you can find and hire good team members and then keep them around is really important. So on the hiring side of things, I'm usually always looking for new people, just kind of have my eyes open, right? We're always trying to grow. There's always more projects coming across my desk that we need to quote, and so we're always thinking about getting bigger and growing. So that means that we need more team members. So I'm always looking. What do I mainly look for? Most of all now, like it's shifted a little bit as I've been doing it, but now mainly I look for somebody who I think is going to fit in well with our team. We have a pretty unique dynamic. Everybody gets along well. Everybody is serious enough to get the job done at a really, really high quality, but they know when they can relax a little bit and joke and poke fun at each other to help just enjoy the day-to-day work. And they have a really good bond and a good relationship. And so when you're bringing new team members in, you want to make sure that they're going to fit in with that and be accepted into the team, and also not stir the pot or ruffle any feathers. So that's probably the hardest part, and sometimes you don't know that until you actually get the person in, and then you realize all of a sudden, like, oh, this isn't going to work. As far as skill set, we don't require college education. Usually I'm just looking for experience, and it doesn't have to be, when I say experience, if we're hiring for the powder coating shop, you don't have to have experience in a powder coating shop. I'm just looking at what are your past experiences, where have you worked, what are the things that you've done, and as I'm talking to somebody and interviewing them on the phone or in person or over a video chat, I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, how do these past experiences that they've had apply to the work that we're going to need them to do on a day-to-day basis. It's hard to find somebody that's had a ton of experience blasting or a ton of experience powder coating, because it's kind of a niche type of job. And so I don't really set out to look for that. I just set out to look for a work ethic and being mechanically inclined, and hopefully have used power tools and familiar with tools and worked with their hands. Hopefully familiar with the equipment as far as operating equipment, some forklifts or bobcats or tractors or anything like that. So then we don't have to teach somebody from 100% scratch. So if I'm talking to somebody and they've never been around any type of equipment, never worked with their hands ever, have always been in a very office-based setting, never out on a shop floor or anything. Usually, I don't usually proceed with someone like that, because there's so much that they would have to learn, and we'd have to teach them. And then since they've never really worked in this type of environment before, they might not even like it. And so try to find people that I think will fit in and that they'll enjoy it themselves, because that's really important to understand or try to figure out if you think someone's going to enjoy what they're doing. So sometimes I'll have people call that have never worked in our industry, but they think powder coating is really cool, or blasting, or liquid coating, and so they want to try it. They want to come to work and try and think that they're really going to like it. And just by talking to them and figuring out some of their other interests outside of work and some of the work they've done in the past, the education they have, I usually can tell, like, I think this will be a good fit, even though they've never done this before. I think they'll fit in. But other people, I can tell right away, like, I know you think you're going to like it, but I know everything that makes up the job, and you've already told me that you don't like this and you don't like that. And so then I know, like, oh, well, that's those things that haven't liked at previous jobs, all that wrapped together is actually what makes up powder coating. And so I try to explain that and try to be smart about it. So I try to make sure that I don't set someone up to fail when it comes to hiring. And then once you hire good people and they've been here for a while, it's important that you train them so they can learn, and then retain them. And so retaining, I always thought was done by like wage and benefits, and that's one thing, right? Because everybody's going to compare what they make to what they could make somewhere else at a different job. So I think that's a portion of it, but as we've developed a really good team that enjoys working around one another and enjoys coming to work to see each other every day, I think that that's probably the more important thing, is generating a good, high energy team environment where you're all working towards a common goal. And when I say common goal, I just mean getting the job done. There's usually a set of people that really enjoy working with their hands, working really hard, and at the end of the day feeling like they accomplished something, feeling like that, man, look at all these parts that we coated today, or look at all these parts that we blasted today. And those type of people are gonna enjoy it and want to keep doing it and stick around. And so as far as retaining and keeping a good team together, it's just trying to kind of keep the morale up and keep everybody moving in the same direction. And I think growing is an important aspect of that too. Everybody doesn't, or most people don't want to do the exact same thing all day, every day. And some people will want to do it for a while, even myself. I have no problem with putting my head down and doing the same thing every day for a while, but after you've done it for a couple of years, certain things start to get boring with it. And so that's why it's important to always be growing and taking on new work. And we're kind of lucky as a job shop. We have all kinds of cool stuff coming through the shop and all kinds of unique challenges. Every day kind of presents its own set of challenges, and so we're not always doing the exact same thing. We're not like an assembly line that coats the exact same part all day, every day, forever. We have a lot of different stuff that comes through. We have really high volume stuff that we do over and over again, but that's broken up with other cool, interesting, small projects that present different difficulties and different outcomes. And so I feel like that kind of helps break up the monotony and keeps people excited. And then we try to we've never really been big on like events or things outside of work, but we try to have, we have weekly meetings. We try to have fun at those meetings. They're usually pretty short. We cover safety and we're real serious about that, but then we usually just kind of talk about what happened the last week, what's going to be coming up in the next week, and usually try to poke a little fun at one another, and just kind of laugh and get along, and that usually keeps everybody in a good mood and keeps everybody wanting to continue to work hard and be around one another. I think that's the most important thing is, it comes up, you see it all over TV and social media about that you should really love what you do, and I agree with that, but I think more importantly, outside of like maybe the exact job that you're doing, you should enjoy the people that you're working around. Because even if you really don't, even if like spraying powder coating on a part isn't what you dreamed about doing when you were a little kid, that doesn't mean that can't be a good career for you and that you can't enjoy it. It would be probably really enjoyable if you like the people that you work around on an everyday basis and you like getting up and interacting and going and seeing those people. If you don't like any of the team members that you work with and you dread being around them, then you're really not going to like what you do for a living. And so I think it's a little bit more important to enjoy the people that you're working around and put yourself in an environment that, like as a team member or an employee, it's important to try to put yourself in an environment that you think you're going to like and around people that you're going to like. And then as a manager, I feel like my role is trying to create that environment, trying to make sure everybody can get along, and more importantly, making sure I hire the right people that'll fit well. So when I'm sitting down in an interview, I know what our culture is like, I know what our team is like, and so it's really important for me to evaluate this person on their skills and technique that they're going to bring to the table as a craftsman, but also their personality and their attitude and how that's going to work in, because you have to have both of those things. You got to have, they're going to have to mesh in well with the team, and they're going to have the skills and experience required to actually complete the job. And I used to think the most important part of those two was the skills and the experience for the job, but I've slowly been kind of leaning towards that. I think it's actually more important that they will fit in well with the team, and then the skills and the experience can come. We can teach that. We have very specific ways we like to do things, and just because somebody already knows how to do something doesn't mean they do it the way we want it done. And so we can teach and train how to do something as long as the person is enjoying being there and wants to be there and has a good attitude. So I think that's probably the more important part now for me and what I look for. And that's a really hard one, because you can't really ask questions to figure that out. You can't really look at a resume to figure that out. You just have to kind of go based on the feeling that you're getting, and then it's always a little nerve-wracking for me the first week, first 2 weeks, first month, to see how they're going to kind of fit in and gel with the team. Because some people you think it's going to be great, and it turns out that it's not, and others vice versa. So that's the main stuff that I look for when I'm hiring.